The high cost of looking rich, why we chase illusions over wealth. Looking rich is easy. Staying rich is rare. Maybe you've heard this before, but stop for a second. Look around. Scroll your feed. Step outside. Walk past a shiny car or a corner cafe packed with people in luxury sneakers and designer bags. What do you see? You see a world obsessed with the optics of wealth, a world where success is measured not by freedom, not by peace of mind, not even by your bank account, but by how expensive you look when you step out the door. We live in an era where the price tag you flash seems to matter more than the assets you quietly build, where the number of likes on a post about your new car matters more than whether you actually own it, where it's easier to spend money impressing strangers than to quietly work for real independence. But here's the truth no one talks about. Most of what glitters is financed. Most of what looks rich isn't wealth. It's borrowed. It's leveraged. It's the illusion of abundance that keeps you one bad month away from losing it all. Why? Because society never taught you the difference between appearing successful and being financially secure. You were programmed to crave applause, to chase validation, to fear falling behind in the status race. And so you spend on shoes, on watches, on cars, on vacations, sometimes not because you need them, but because you need people to know you have them. But the ones who truly build wealth, they move in silence. They focus on what lasts, not what shines. They buy freedom, not attention. They don't need to prove themselves because their balance sheet does it for them. This isn't just about money. It's about the game you're playing, maybe without even realizing it. Ask yourself, are you hustling to look rich, or are you quietly laying the bricks of real wealth? Are you driven by the need to be seen or by the hunger to be free? In the next chapters, we'll pull back the curtain on the difference between show and substance. We'll expose the traps that keep you stuck, buying image instead of assets, chasing applause instead of freedom, building liabilities while calling them wealth. This is your chance to escape the poverty of pretending and enter the quiet, powerful world of those who endure. Because when the spotlight fades, the only wealth that matters is the kind that stays, even when no one's watching. Let's begin. The psychology of appearance. Why status symbols trap the masses. Why do so many people risk their financial future just to look wealthy? Why do status symbols, designer brands, shiny watches, luxury cars hold such a powerful grip on the average person's dreams? The answer isn't just about money. It's about psychology. It's about the deep, often unspoken hunger to be seen, to be admired, to be worthy in a world obsessed with appearances. The ancient instinct to belong and be respected. Humans are tribal creatures. Thousands of years ago, survival meant acceptance. The tribe protected those it valued and left the outsiders behind. So over generations, we developed a desperate need for social approval because being admired wasn't just an ego boost, it was life or death. Today, we're not running from lions or foraging for berries, but our instincts haven't changed. We want to belong. We want respect. We want to matter. Modern society where value equals visibility. Society is a stage and everyone's performing. With every selfie, every branded outfit, every look at me moment, we're signaling our value to the tribe. Except now the tribe is thousands, even millions of people, many of whom we'll never meet. Brands know this. They don't just sell products, they sell feelings. A luxury car is never just about transport. It's about respect, envy, and that moment when heads turn as you drive by. A designer bag is never just about quality. It's about what that logo means when you walk into a room. The approval addiction. The first time someone compliments your shoes, your car, your expensive watch, something lights up in your brain. Dopamine, validation. You feel seen. The high is real, and it fades fast, which is why you crave the next fix. It's a trap. The more you seek approval through what you buy, the more your sense of self becomes hostage to what others think. You start living for their applause, and every purchase becomes a performance. The hidden price, trading freedom for image. Here's the tragedy. Most people don't realize what they're giving up. Every dollar spent looking rich is a dollar stolen from your future. Every status symbol that drains your savings is a quiet thief of your options, your independence, your peace of mind. You're not just buying a watch, you're selling a piece of your freedom. You're not just getting a new car, you're taking on years of debt so strangers might think you've made it. Who are you really trying to impress, and what is it costing you? Breaking the spell from image to identity. Once you see the pattern, you can break it. Ask yourself, am I buying this for me or for them? If no one could see what I own, would I still want it? Is my value measured by my possessions or by my principles? The truly wealthy know, real self-worth can't be bought. Status symbols are cheap. True security is rare. Lasting respect comes from substance, not show. The next time you feel that urge to prove yourself through a purchase, pause. Remember, you weren't born to impress, you were born to build. This is the first step from living for the crowd to living for your own freedom. The social media mirage, the age of flaunting, not owning. Take a moment to think about the images that fill your phone every day. Scroll through any social platform and you'll find a parade of success. Luxury cars, designer shoes, endless vacations, dinners at rooftop restaurants, and homes with impossible views. But how much of it is real? How much is actually owned? And how much is just staged, leased, or financed to impress an invisible audience? The rise of the performance economy. In the digital age, your image is currency. Likes, comments, and followers are the new social capital. Everyone is performing, everyone is on stage, and the audience never sleeps. People have learned that showing off signals power, popularity, and even opportunity. But this performance economy rewards the illusion, not the substance. Renting status, not building wealth. The truth behind the feed is often sobering. That sports car might be a rental returned after the photo shoot. That five-star resort could be a one-time splurge paid off in monthly installments. Those designer outfits are sometimes borrowed, returned, or even bought for a single post. Behind the curtain, many are sacrificing their future for a moment in the spotlight. They own nothing except the debt left behind once the likes disappear. Why social media fuels the urge to flaunt. It's not just peer pressure, it's engineered addiction. Platforms are designed to trigger envy, to make you feel less than unless you keep up. Algorithms reward extreme displays, pushing the most extravagant lifestyles into your daily scroll. So you start comparing your everyday reality to someone else's highlight reel. You feel you need to level up just to stay relevant, even if it means spending money you don't have. The invisible audience. Why we impress strangers. Here's the irony. Most people you're trying to impress don't care. Many are total strangers. Yet millions go into debt, not for family, not for true happiness, but for digital applause from people they will never meet. This is the new poverty, spending everything to look rich for a world that isn't watching as closely as you think. From flaunting to owning, the way forward. Ask yourself honestly, if social media didn't exist, how would you spend your money? If nobody saw your shoes, your car, your house, would you still crave them? If you had to live with your choices without ever posting them, what would you build? The rich play a different game. They use money to buy assets, not applause. They value privacy over popularity, ownership over optics. Their net worth is measured in what can't be seen: investments, equity, freedom. Every time you're tempted to post for attention, remember, you can own the stage or you can own your future, but rarely both. Choose to own. Choose to build what lasts after the spotlight fades. Designer debt, when style becomes a trap. You don't have to look far to see the pull of designer brands. A logo on a handbag, the emblem on a car, the right pair of sneakers. For millions, these are not just objects. They are badges of belonging, proof that you've made it, tickets to social acceptance. But beneath the surface, the story is rarely as glamorous as it seems. The hidden cost of luxury. What few admit is how many of these luxury items are paid for with borrowed money. Credit cards, personal loans, even payday advances, anything to get the next new thing, to upgrade your image, to keep up with whoever's leading the style parade. The irony? While you may look richer, your balance sheet is quietly bleeding. That shiny new bag or car is not an asset, it's a liability, silently siphoning away your options, your freedom, your peace of mind. The death spiral, how image becomes a life sentence. It starts innocently, just this one splurge, I'll pay it off soon. But the high of a new purchase fades fast, and the craving for more returns, driven by the next trend, the next party, the next post. So the cycle continues. Buy, borrow, repeat. Over time, payments pile up, interest grows, stress rises. You work harder just to stay afloat, but you're always one step behind, always trying to look like you're winning, even when you're losing ground. Status anxiety, the modern epidemic. This is the disease of our era, a constant low-grade anxiety that you don't have enough, aren't enough, unless you have what they have. Comparison becomes compulsion. You start defining your self-worth by what you wear, drive, or own. And the brands? They're happy to fuel the fire. Their entire business model relies on you needing more to feel like you belong. Stories behind the glamour. For every viral unboxing or luxury reveal, there are countless stories untold. The person working overtime to make the minimum payment on a handbag. The family skipping vacations to cover a car lease they can't afford. The anxiety that comes from pretending every day that your life is more stable than it really is. These stories rarely make it to your feed, but they're the reality for millions trapped by style. Freedom is owning, not owing. True luxury isn't about the logo on your clothes. It's about the lack of worry in your mind. It's about sleeping well because your assets, not your debts, are growing. It's knowing you could walk away from any trend, any pressure, and still feel secure. Ask yourself, am I buying style or am I buying stress? Does this purchase serve my life, or do I end up serving it? When style becomes a trap, freedom becomes the only true status symbol. It's time to break the cycle, to trade designer debt for lasting wealth. Because looking rich may turn heads, but only being rich lets you rest easy. The rich don't have to prove it. The power of quiet money. The truly wealthy are rarely the loudest in the room. They don't need to wear their wealth on their sleeve, parade it on social media, or drop hints in every conversation. In fact, if you pay attention, you'll notice something strange. The richest people often look surprisingly ordinary. Quiet confidence versus noisy insecurity. For those who have built real, sustainable wealth, there is a quiet confidence that speaks louder than any luxury brand. They have nothing to prove because their self-worth is not tied to public applause, but to private security. They understand a simple truth. When you truly own your wealth, you don't need to show it. When your freedom isn't borrowed, when your assets generate income quietly in the background, there's no urge to convince the world that you're successful. The loudest signals of wealth are often camouflage for insecurity. The need to prove, to flaunt, to broadcast status. It reveals not abundance, but anxiety. Real money doesn't scream, it whispers. The billionaire uniform. Understated, not overstated. Look at the world's wealthiest. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same plain t-shirt and jeans every day. Warren Buffett drives an ordinary car and lives in the same modest house he bought decades ago. Ingvar Kamprad, the late founder of IKEA, famously flew economy class and shopped at flea markets. These are not signs of stinginess, they're evidence of a mindset, a focus on value over vanity, substance over show. For them, wealth is about what it allows you to do, not what it allows you to display. The power of invisibility. True wealth is power, and power grows stronger when it's hidden. Those who quietly accumulate assets are less likely to become targets, less likely to attract envy, and more able to live on their own terms. Invisibility is freedom. When you don't have to keep up appearances, you don't have to keep up payments. When you don't need to impress anyone, you can focus on what really matters: your family, your passions, your legacy. Owning the balance sheet, not the spotlight. Ask any self-made millionaire what brings the greatest peace of mind, and you'll rarely hear about possessions. They'll talk about having options, having time, having security no one can take away. Their flex is not a watch, a car, or a vacation. It's knowing that if everything went silent tomorrow, they would still be free. Are you quietly building or loudly pretending? The world has enough noise. It's full of people peacocking for approval, emptying their pockets for applause. But the ones who endure, they let results speak. They let time compound. They stay humble and quietly unstoppable. You don't have to prove you're wealthy. You have to prove you're wise. And in the end, only the quiet money remains. Balance sheet versus brand sheet, where real wealth hides. There's a reason you can't always spot the wealthiest person in the room. It's because real wealth doesn't walk in with a spotlight. It sits quietly in the background, measured not in logos, likes, or luxury, but in something far more powerful: the balance sheet. What is a balance sheet, really? A balance sheet is the private scoreboard of your financial life. It's where your assets, what you own, are measured against your liabilities, what you owe. The result is your net worth, the real story of your wealth. Contrast this with the brand sheet, the external scoreboard. This is the one the world sees: designer brands, car emblems, high-rise views, social media followings. It's the record of what you broadcast, not what you build. The illusion of the brand sheet. Most people live their financial lives according to the brand sheet. They accumulate possessions that look impressive but drain their resources. Their status depends on perception, not reality. A $2,000 bag might get you admiration for a day, but it doesn't pay you back. A leased luxury car might earn you likes online, but it quietly erodes your net worth month by month. The brand sheet is addictive. It rewards quick hits of validation while quietly bankrupting your future. Where the rich focus: quiet assets, steady growth. Wealthy people flip the script. They obsess over their balance sheet, not their brand sheet. They invest in real estate that appreciates in value, stocks and businesses that generate passive income, intellectual property, skills, or assets that can't be seen but keep paying dividends. They know a simple truth: what you own matters more than what you show. How the two paths diverge. The brand sheet path is crowded, noisy, and exhausting. It's always chasing the next trend, the next upgrade, the next applause. But it leads to stress, debt, and constant anxiety over keeping up. The balance sheet path is quiet and steady. It leads to options, freedom, and real security. It's not as flashy, but it's far more powerful. A quick test. Which sheet are you building? Ask yourself, do you know your net worth right now? What's the ratio of your assets to your liabilities? How much of what you spend actually puts money back in your pocket? If you measure your progress in possessions, you're on the brand sheet. If you measure it in assets, equity, and freedom, you're on the balance sheet. Choose what lasts, not what shines. Every dollar can either polish your image or strengthen your foundation. One fades the moment the trend changes. The other endures, quietly growing year after year. Don't just look rich for the crowd. Build real wealth for yourself, where it matters and where it lasts. Why poor people buy liabilities and call them assets. Walk into a room and ask people to list their assets. You'll hear things like my car, my phone, my new TV, my fancy watch, my designer bag. But here's the harsh truth. Most of these are not assets at all. They are liabilities, disguised as symbols of success. The great financial illusion. Why do so many mistake liabilities for assets? Because society, advertisers, and even families have taught us the wrong definitions. We grow up hearing, a bigger house means you're successful. A new car is an investment in yourself. If you own the latest gadget, you're moving up. But what do these things really do to your money? They consume it. They depreciate over time. They take cash out of your pocket instead of putting it in. Asset versus liability, the simple test. Asset puts money into your pocket. Liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. If you have to keep paying for it, repairs, maintenance, insurance, upgrades, interest, it's a liability, no matter how fancy it looks. A car isn't an asset unless it makes you money. For example, a car you rent out or use for business that generates profit. A house isn't an asset if it's draining your savings and not producing income. The trap of upgrading for appearances. Poor and middle-class people are pressured to upgrade constantly. Phones, cars, clothes, homes, just to keep up. But every upgrade is a new payment, a new drain, a new reason to delay real investing. You feel richer in the moment, but month by month, your financial foundation weakens. One emergency, one job loss, and suddenly the facade crumbles. Why this mindset persists? There's a deep psychological reason for this pattern. Society teaches us that status equals security. We chase the appearance of wealth, hoping it will one day become real. But you cannot buy your way into financial freedom with liabilities. Worse, the more you collect, the more trapped you become, locked into a cycle of working harder just to maintain appearances. The cost of confusing liabilities for assets. Less money for investing, no buffer for emergencies, constant stress over bills, missed opportunities for real wealth. the quiet anxiety of knowing it could all collapse. How the rich see it differently. Rich people obsess over assets that grow, investments, businesses, property, intellectual property, skills that generate value. They delay gratification, ignore trends, and refuse to be seduced by what simply looks good. Their wealth isn't parked in their driveway, it's quietly compounding in the background. Change your definitions, change your life. Ask yourself before every major purchase, will this make me money or will it cost me money? Will this help me grow or will it just help me fit in? Am I building a life or building a collection of bills? The moment you start seeing liabilities for what they are, your financial life begins to transform. You stop playing to impress and start playing to win. Real wealth isn't what you show the world, it's what you build when no one is watching. The social pressure to perform. How envy shapes spending. Why do people keep spending beyond their means, even when they know it's risky? Why is it so hard to stop chasing the next upgrade, the next trend, the next must-have purchase? The answer is hidden in the invisible force that governs so much of human behavior: social pressure and envy. Keeping up with everyone. It used to be about keeping up with the Joneses, comparing yourself to the family next door. But in the age of social media, you're no longer just keeping up with neighbors, you're keeping up with everyone. Celebrities, influencers, classmates, colleagues, even strangers with a knack for making their lives look perfect. Comparison is no longer local, it's global, relentless, and always just a scroll away. Envy, the silent driver of consumption. Every time you see someone with something you want, a bigger house, a newer car, a fancier vacation, there's a little spark of envy. It's almost automatic, baked into our psychology. Advertisers know this. They use social proof, celebrity endorsements, and influencer culture to trigger your "I want that too" reflex. Envy is powerful because it makes you feel like you're missing out, not just on stuff, but on status, belonging, and self-worth. The price of belonging. Most people don't realize they're spending for acceptance. They upgrade their lives not just for comfort, but to send a signal: I belong, I'm successful, I matter too. But the cost is steep. Maxed out credit cards, loans for things that lose value, saving less, investing even less, living under a constant cloud of financial anxiety. The pursuit of approval is expensive, and often it's never enough. Why social pressure never ends? Here's the secret. No matter how much you spend, there will always be someone with more. A fancier car, a bigger house, a more luxurious trip. Social pressure is a treadmill. It never stops. And if you're not careful, it will run you into the ground. The lie of normal. In many communities, debt has become normal. It's normal to finance everything. It's normal to spend every dollar you make. But normal is broke. Normal is stressed. Normal is living one crisis away from disaster. Breaking free from envy to empowerment. How do you escape this trap? Awareness. Recognize when envy is driving your desire, not true need or purpose. Clarity. Define success on your own terms, not someone else's. Discipline. Learn to say no to trends that don't serve your goals. Gratitude. Practice being content with what you have while building for what you want. Ask yourself, am I spending to impress or to improve? Is this purchase about my needs or about someone else's opinion? True wealth begins when you stop chasing what others have and start building what you truly value. Remember, social pressure will always exist, but your financial future belongs to you, not to the crowd you're trying to impress. Fake rich. Why flashy doesn't mean wealthy. You've seen them everywhere, online, in your city, sometimes even among your friends or family. The ones with the latest phone, designer clothes, a shiny car, constant vacations, and expensive dinners. On the surface, they seem to have it all. But beneath the glitter, there's a secret most won't admit. Flashy doesn't mean wealthy. Sometimes it's just fake rich. The illusion of prosperity. The fake rich look wealthy, talk wealthy, and live as if money is no object. But look closer, and the cracks begin to show. They rent more than they own. Their bank account is emptier than their Instagram feed suggests. Their smiles are sometimes a mask for mounting stress and hidden debts. The world is filled with people who spend everything to look rich, but are just one missed paycheck away from financial collapse. The trap of high income, low net worth. A common myth: if I earn a lot, I must be rich. But there are countless high earners living paycheck to paycheck. The problem isn't always how much they make, but how much they keep. The person with a six-figure salary but even higher expenses. The entrepreneur who drives a luxury car but is drowning in business debt. The influencer with 1 million followers and a maxed-out credit card. Income is not wealth. Wealth is what you keep and grow, not what you spend or show. The performance of wealth. Fake rich is a performance, one that comes with pressure, anxiety, and often deep insecurity. Every purchase becomes a prop in the ongoing show. Every outing is a chance to reinforce the illusion. But it's exhausting. The higher you build your facade, the more you have to lose if it ever comes crashing down. Signs you're chasing the fake rich life. You feel stressed or guilty after spending, but keep doing it for the appearance. You hide financial struggles from friends and family. You measure your success by how people react, not by your own security or happiness. Your debts are growing, but your investments and savings aren't. The real cost: freedom traded for facade. What does it really cost to keep up the fake rich act? Your peace of mind, your financial future, your ability to respond to emergencies or seize opportunities, sometimes even your relationships. When you're busy keeping up appearances, you have no energy left to build real wealth. The way out: embrace substance over show. To escape the trap of fake rich, start asking, would I still want this if nobody saw it? Does this choice grow my future or just boost my image? Am I truly rich in assets or just in attention? The wealthy are often invisible, patient, and steady. They build quietly, invest deeply, and let time do the heavy lifting. Flash fades. Real wealth lasts. Dare to be different. Trade the performance for real progress. Your future self will thank you. The cost of impressing others. What you lose to win applause. Every society has its rituals for gaining approval. New clothes for holidays, lavish parties for milestones, expensive gifts for respect. But in our era, the hunger to impress has become a never-ending pursuit, quietly draining lives, wallets, and dreams. We rarely ask the uncomfortable question, what does it truly cost to impress others? More than money, you're spending your future. Every time you swipe your card to keep up appearances, you're not just spending money, you're spending possibility. That designer jacket, it's not just a payment, it's a piece of your financial freedom, traded away for a fleeting compliment. If you tally up the costs over months or years, the numbers are staggering, but the true losses are often invisible. Missed opportunities to invest, the emergency fund that never grows, the business or education you never start, the life goals perpetually on hold. Time, the hidden sacrifice. It's not just money you lose, it's time. Time working extra hours to pay for things you don't truly need. Time worrying about bills and debts. Time lost to stress, comparison, and the endless race to keep up. What could that time have built if it was invested in your skills, your health, your family, or your own dreams? Peace of mind, the unseen expense. Living for applause means living on a stage, always performing, always anxious about the next act. You trade your peace of mind for the approval of people who may never even notice if you fail. The stress compounds. What if they find out I can't afford this? What if I fall behind? What if my image slips? This constant tension erodes your happiness and your confidence. No amount of likes can buy the comfort of a mind at ease. Authenticity, the ultimate price. Every time you buy something just for show, you lose a piece of your authenticity. You become less of who you are and more of who you think others want you to be. Authenticity is rare, and it's the foundation of real relationships and lasting self-respect. When you live for applause, you become a stranger to your own values. Relationships built on sand. When connections are built on image, they rarely last. Friends who value you for what you have, not who you are, disappear when the spotlight fades. True support, trust, and belonging cannot be bought. The cycle never ends until you step off. Impressing others is a game without a finish line. There will always be someone with more. The applause will always fade, and the bar will always rise. But you have the power to break the cycle. Ask yourself, what am I giving up to look successful? Whose approval am I really chasing, and why does it matter? Is this performance worth my future, my freedom, my peace? Lasting respect is never won by impressing the crowd. It's earned by building a life you don't have to perform. Trade applause for authenticity. Trade performance for progress. In the silence that follows, you'll find real wealth waiting. Freedom over flex. Why real wealth buys options. Think about this. If you could trade every flashy possession you own for true freedom, time, choices, peace of mind, would you do it? For the truly wealthy, this isn't a hypothetical. It's how they live. Because the real flex isn't what you show off. It's what you're free to do. The silent currency, options. What separates the rich from the rest is not just the size of their bank account, but the size of their options. Options to work or not work. Options to say no to people, jobs, or situations that don't fit their values. Options to take risks, to rest, to help others, to live on their own terms. Flashy things, cars, watches, clothes, trap you in cycles of spending, upgrading, and performing. Options liberate you. What is financial freedom really? It's not retiring at 30 or never working again. It's the ability to make choices without money being the only reason. Want to leave a toxic job? You can. Want to take a year off to travel, learn, or be with family? You can. Want to start a business, help a friend, or walk away from a bad deal? You can. That's the power money should buy. Not just more stuff, but more life. Why most people settle for flex? Because society trains us to value applause over autonomy. We're told the greatest status is to be admired, envied, and recognized. But this is the shallowest form of wealth because it disappears the moment you stop performing. Most people work for decades to buy things that impress others, but keep themselves in golden cages of debt and obligation. The rich play a different game. They don't care about looking rich. They care about staying free. They avoid commitments that steal their time and limit their choices. They invest in assets that quietly multiply, giving them more options year after year. You won't always see their wealth, but you'll see their confidence, their calm, and the way they live without apology. How to measure your freedom? Ask yourself, could I walk away from my job tomorrow and survive for months, even years? Am I one emergency away from disaster, or am I prepared? Can I make choices for myself, or am I chained to payments and appearances? Every time you choose freedom over flex, you're investing in a life of options. The real flex is not having to flex. Ironically, those with the most freedom rarely feel the need to prove anything. They know their value doesn't come from what's visible, but from what's possible. The best thing money can buy is the ability to live life on your own terms. Every dollar spent on freedom compounds. Every dollar spent on flex fades. Choose options. Choose liberty. Build a life so rich in freedom, you never need to ask permission again. The long game. How the wealthy build endurance, not excitement. If you watch closely, you'll see a pattern among the truly wealthy. They are almost never chasing the thrill of quick wins or viral trends. They don't live for the high of a flashy purchase or the temporary rush of applause. Instead, they play the long game, building wealth that endures, not excitement that fades. Delayed gratification, the ultimate advantage. Most people want everything now. We live in a culture of instant rewards. Buy now, pay later, next day delivery, quick hits of dopamine from every notification, every new thing. But the rich know that what comes easy, goes easy. Their greatest weapon is patience. They understand that saying no to short-term pleasures allows them to say yes to long-term abundance. Compound growth, the quiet miracle. Wealth isn't usually built in leaps, it's built in layers. A dollar invested grows slowly at first, then faster and faster as time compounds its effect. The longer you stay in the game, the greater the rewards. A business that becomes profitable after years of quiet effort. Investments that seem boring now, but double, triple, or more over decades. Skills, networks, and habits that quietly accumulate, opening doors money alone never could. The rich let time work for them, not against them. Consistency beats intensity. Anyone can work hard for a weekend. Anyone can save for a month, invest for a year, start a trend, or make a splash. But the wealthy don't chase sprints, they run marathons. They know consistency beats intensity. Small, smart actions repeated over years win over any burst of effort. Why the poor chase excitement. The poor and middle class are often taught to value excitement. The new phone, the latest fashion, the hottest car, the next get-rich-quick scheme. But these things fade as quickly as they appear. What you buy for a thrill becomes just another bill. The search for excitement becomes a habit, one that keeps people broke, distracted, and always looking for the next high. Building endurance, the quiet path to wealth. Endurance isn't glamorous. It doesn't get many likes or admiring stares, but it's the secret ingredient to every fortune that lasts. Building endurance means making sacrifices others won't, sticking with investments in businesses when progress feels slow, trusting the process even when results aren't immediate, believing in your future self enough to keep showing up. Make boring your superpower. If your financial life feels a little boring, you're probably doing it right. Boring is automatic savings and investments, steady growth, no drama, no panic. Excitement is fleeting. Endurance is forever. Choose to play the long game, because real wealth isn't about the next rush. It's about building a life that can't be shaken by trends, time, or anyone else's opinion. Asset addiction versus aesthetic addiction. Every person is addicted to something. Some to the next pair of shoes, others to the next opportunity. The difference between those who get rich and those who stay broke often lies in what they're addicted to. Aesthetic addiction, the need to be seen. Aesthetic addiction is the craving for the new, the trendy, the beautiful, anything that signals status, taste, or belonging. It starts young. The thrill of new sneakers at school, the urge to have the latest phone, the need for the perfect selfie outfit. As we grow, the stakes get higher. Cars, jewelry, watches, luxury vacations. This addiction is fed by social media, advertising, and the endless parade of influencers showing off what's next. You get a rush every time you buy, every time someone notices, every time you feel above the crowd. But the rush fades fast, and you need another hit. The trap of endless upgrading. When you're addicted to appearances, you never feel satisfied. There's always a new trend, a new model, a new standard to chase. The result? Drained bank accounts, mounting debt, and a feeling of always being behind, no matter how much you spend. It's a treadmill that never stops, and it leads to nowhere. Asset addiction, the quiet thrill of building. Asset addiction is something entirely different and far more powerful. It's the quiet excitement of seeing your net worth grow. It's the satisfaction of acquiring things that make you muddy, not just take it. The high comes from watching investments multiply, collecting rental income or dividends, growing a business, seeing your financial safety net get stronger every month. This addiction compounds in a positive way. The more you invest in assets, the more security, freedom, and possibility you create. Why the rich are addicted to assets. Wealthy people train themselves to get excited about what lasts. They chase cash flow, equity, and ownership, not applause. They track their portfolio performance, not their outfit's brand. Passive income, not Instagram likes. The growth of their net worth, not the size of their audience. For them, every asset is a step toward more choices and less stress. How to shift your addiction. If you recognize that you're hooked on aesthetics, don't blame yourself. Society designed it that way. But you can rewire your desires. Track your net worth. Watch it grow. Make it a game. Celebrate every new asset. Mark your milestones, not your purchases. Unfollow the hype. Fill your feed with creators and role models who build, not just flaunt. Practice gratitude. Remember, true security comes from ownership, not opinions. Replace the rush. Find a better high. Every time you feel the urge to buy for show, pause. Ask yourself, will this fade or will it pay me back? Am I building something or just performing? Let your new addiction be growth, not glamour. The next time you need a hit of excitement, buy a piece of your future. That's the only addiction worth having. Invisible wealth is the value of privacy and low profile. In a world obsessed with showing off, the truly wealthy are almost always the least visible. They blend in, live simply, and keep their financial power quietly tucked away from public view. This is not just humility, it's strategy. Why the rich choose invisibility? For the wealthy, privacy is a shield. It protects them from envy, unwanted attention, exploitation, and even danger. The more you show, the more you attract risk, scams, lawsuits, even threats to personal safety. By remaining understated, the rich preserve their options and peace of mind. They don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone because their wealth is secure, regardless of who knows about it. The power in low profile. A low profile is more than just flying under the radar. It's a powerful form of freedom. You make decisions without worrying about appearances. You can enjoy life without fear of being judged for how you spend, what you own, or how you live. You avoid the endless comparisons and competitions that drain energy and happiness. The less you advertise, the more you can focus on what truly matters: your family, your mission, your well-being. How invisible wealth builds true security. The assets that bring the greatest peace, investment portfolios, business equity, real estate, intellectual property, are rarely visible to outsiders. They work for you in silence, compounding and growing without fanfare. You don't have to guard them every day or show them off for validation. Their power lies in quiet endurance. Why que courant la mat? History is full of cautionary tales. Lottery winners who broadcast their windfall and lose it all. Celebrities whose public riches attract lawsuits, extortion, and disaster. Oversharers on social media who become targets, not trendsetters. Visibility can become a curse, not a blessing. The more you flaunt, the more you become vulnerable. How to cultivate invisible wealth. Invest where it grows, not where it shows. Focus on assets, not accessories. Guard your privacy. Share your financial progress only with those you trust deeply. Resist the urge to perform. Let your wealth buy you peace, not performance anxiety. Enjoy the freedom of anonymity. You don't need to be known to be powerful. The legacy of low-profile wealth. The richest families, the most enduring fortunes, are often invisible by design. They create impact quietly through philanthropy, opportunity, and example, not spectacle. Remember, true wealth is not just about having more. It's about needing less attention, less approval, and less noise. Invisible wealth is untouchable. Let your security be silent and your power be private. Family, legacy, and generational thinking. What's the difference between simply being rich for a moment and building a fortune that lasts for generations? It's not just about how much you earn or spend. It's about how you think. The wealthy see money as a tool to create lasting impact beyond their own lifetime. They don't just plan for today or even just tomorrow. They plan for their children, their grandchildren, and the world they'll leave behind. Short-term versus long-term, the thinking divide. The poor and middle class often live for the present, for comfort now, for the next weekend, the next purchase, the next holiday. It's understandable. When life is unstable, it's hard to think far ahead. But this mindset is costly. It leads to choices that provide instant gratification but sabotage future security. The wealthy, in contrast, are obsessed with legacy. How will my choices today affect my family for decades to come? What can I build that endures after I'm gone? How do I make sure the next generation starts further ahead than I did? Building for generations, not just for yourself. This generational mindset shapes every major decision. Investing instead of consuming. Teaching children about money, discipline, and opportunity. Creating trusts, businesses, or endowments that provide for the family long after they're gone. They see themselves as stewards, not just spenders. Why Song Chohonnai keeps you stuck. Living only for the present may feel good in the moment, but it traps families in cycles of struggle. No savings passed down, no businesses or assets inherited. Every generation starts from zero, fighting the same battles again and again. This isn't just about money, it's about habits, values, and the stories we tell our children about what's possible. The power of legacy. A true legacy isn't just an inheritance, it's a roadmap. It's the wisdom, habits, and opportunities handed down through example. The wealthy teach their children the difference between assets and liabilities, the value of patience and discipline, the importance of reputation and relationships, how to think beyond themselves, how to shift to generational thinking. You don't need to be born rich to build a legacy. Start small. Begin investing, even if the amount is tiny. Educate. Share what you learn about money with your family. Plan. Set goals that outlive you. Think decades, not days. Document. Write down your values, your dreams, and your hard-earned lessons. Prioritize. Choose to delay gratification today so your children don't have to start from nothing tomorrow. Your real wealth is what you leave behind. One day, all the stuff you bought to look successful will fade. What remains is what you built, taught, and left for those who come after. Don't just be rich for yourself. Be the one who changes your family's story forever. That is the wealth that endures. How society rewards appearances and punishes substance. From the earliest days of childhood, we're bombarded by a clear message: appearances matter. It's not just about what you achieve, but how you look doing it. Society, through media, advertising, entertainment, and even education, has built a system that rewards surface over substance, optics over outcomes. The myth makers, media, movies, and marketing. Turn on the TV, scroll your feed, open a magazine, and you'll see the same story over and over. The flashy car means you've made it. The big house means you're successful. The brand name clothes mean you belong. The loud, charismatic personality is the one who gets ahead. Behind the scenes, real substance, discipline, patience, quiet wealth, long-term thinking rarely gets airtime. The people who grind for years, build slow fortunes, or quietly invest in others' futures, they're invisible to the spotlight. Rewarding the show, not the work. Society loves the showman, the person who can perform, impress, and gather crowds. But when applause fades, the applause chasers are often left with little but debt, exhaustion, and shallow relationships. Meanwhile, those who focus on substance, on building real skills, assets, and character, are often overlooked, even criticized for being boring or old-fashioned. The result? A culture that values what sparkles even when it's hollow. The cost of this cultural lie. When everyone's chasing image, more people go into debt for things they can't afford. Fewer invest in their future because it's uncool or invisible. Young people grow up believing quick fame is better than quiet progress. Real financial education, long-term planning, and personal discipline are undervalued. This leads to cycles of disappointment, frustration, and self-doubt. People start to believe that unless they look successful, they aren't successful. How normal is weaponized. What's considered normal becomes a weapon. It's normal to have debt. It's normal to live for the weekend, for the next trend, for the applause. It's normal to complain, compare, and chase likes. But normal is a trap. The more you try to fit in with normal, the further you drift from true security, fulfillment, and freedom. The hidden punishment for substance. Those who refuse to play the game, who invest quietly, live simply, and focus on long-term value are often mocked, dismissed, or envied. They might hear, "Why don't you upgrade your car? You only live once, just spend it. Nobody's going to notice your savings account." But the punishment is only temporary. When storms come, when economies crash, when applause dries up, only substance remains. Reclaiming value, your silent revolution. To escape the system, you must consciously choose to value substance over image. Question what you see. Just because it's everywhere doesn't mean it's true. Celebrate your own milestones, not society's approval. Invest in what lasts, not what trends. Teach others, especially the young, that wealth is quiet, patient, and powerful beneath the surface. Don't let a noisy world trick you into hollow living. Choose what's real, because in the end, only substance stands when the lights go out. Mindset detox, rewiring how you see money and status. Escaping the culture of showing off isn't easy. Every day, you're surrounded by signals telling you that you need more, newer, flashier, just to keep up. But if you want to break free and build lasting wealth, you have to start with your own mind. You need a mindset detox. Recognize the programming. The first step is to see how deeply you've been programmed. Ads promise happiness if you just buy one more thing. Social media rewards you for every share, every "look at me." Friends and family may praise your latest purchase, but question your investments. Ask yourself honestly, where did my ideas about money, status, and success come from? Are they helping me or holding me back? Question the illusions. Every time you feel an urge to buy for the sake of image, pause. Ask, if no one could see this, would I still want it? Does this purchase align with my goals or just my ego? Am I spending to impress or to progress? Challenging your own motives is the fastest way to uncover hidden patterns. Redefine success on your own terms. Society's version of success is loud, fast, and always on display. But what do you actually want? More time with loved ones? Freedom to travel, learn, or create? Peace of mind, even in hard times? Write down your own definition of wealth. Let it guide your choices, not someone else's highlight reel. Curate your environment. Your influences matter. Unfollow accounts that trigger envy or reckless spending. Follow creators and leaders who teach about real wealth, discipline, and fulfillment. Spend time with people who value growth over gossip, ownership over appearances. Surround yourself with the energy you want to embody. Practice daily financial self-awareness. Make it a habit to review your spending, your assets, your goals. Celebrate progress toward freedom, not toward impressing others. Even small wins, an extra $10 invested, a debt paid off, are victories in the game that really matters. Embrace discomfort. It's part of growth. It may feel strange to opt out of the show. You might get questions, criticism, or even feel left out. But every discomfort is proof that you're breaking old patterns. Remember, the world doesn't need another performer. It needs more builders, more creators, more people willing to think for themselves. Simple questions for everyday detox. Whenever you face a spending decision, try these. Does this purchase bring me closer to my goals? If I lost my income tomorrow, would this be a blessing or a burden? What's the real reason I want this? Will this matter in 5 years? Start small, build big. Mindset change is a process. Forgive yourself for past mistakes, but commit to building a better path from here. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to choose ownership over optics, growth over glitter. Detox your mind, and your money will follow. That's how lasting wealth is built, from the inside out. The rich buy time, the poor sell it. If you want to know who's truly wealthy, don't just look at their possessions, look at their calendar. The ultimate measure of wealth isn't money, it's time. Time to think, time to rest, time to choose. Why time is the only non-renewable asset? You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Once it's spent, it's gone forever. Yet, ironically, most people spend their entire lives trading time for money, selling hours, days, even decades for a paycheck. The rich see things differently. They understand that money is a tool to buy back your time. They invest so they can spend less of their lives working for others and more living on their own terms. How the poor sell their time? Working overtime just to cover bills, taking on extra shifts, side gigs, hustles, always sacrificing weekends and nights, saying yes to every job, every task, even when it steals time from family, health, or dreams. The logic is simple but dangerous. If I just work a little harder, I'll finally get ahead. But without ownership of assets, of businesses, of investments, your time will always belong to someone else. How the rich buy time? They build streams of passive income, investments, businesses, royalties. They hire others to do what drains their energy, freeing themselves for what matters most. They say no to distractions, to obligations that don't serve their vision. Their money works, so they don't always have to. From time slave to time owner, the mindset shift. This shift is possible for anyone, but it requires intention. Value your time. Track how you spend every hour. What's draining you? What's feeding you? Invest early. Even small amounts, compounded over years, can buy you freedom later. Prioritize. Ask, does this move me toward more autonomy or deeper into obligation? Automate and delegate. Free your life from tasks that keep you stuck. Learn to say no. Every yes to someone else's agenda is a no to your own life. The freedom dividend. When you own your time, you make better decisions, no rush, no desperation. You show up fully for the people and passions you love. You're able to weather setbacks, take risks, and recover from failure. You move from surviving to living. Questions to reclaim your time. If money were no object, how would you spend your days? What would it take to buy back even one free hour per day, per week, per month? Are you building assets that will work for you even when you sleep? True wealth isn't measured by what fills your bank account, but what fills your calendar with purpose and possibility. Stop selling your life for pennies. Start investing your energy in things that multiply your freedom. In the end, the rich don't just die with more money, they die with more life lived. That's the wealth you can never fake, and the only kind that matters. Practical guide: how to stop looking rich and start getting rich. Knowledge is power, but only if you act. It's not enough to know the difference between looking rich and being rich. You have to choose every day in every decision to build real wealth, not just the appearance of it. Checklist: 10 signs you're playing the fake rich game. You regularly buy things just to impress others. You're more excited about new purchases than your investment growth. Your debts are rising while your savings stagnate. You don't track your net worth or monthly cash flow. You feel anxious or embarrassed when discussing money. Your emergency fund couldn't cover 3 months of living expenses. Most of your assets are depreciating items: cars, phones, fashion. You have little or no passive income. You're living paycheck to paycheck regardless of income level. You avoid honest conversations about money with loved ones. If more than a few of these sound familiar, don't worry, you can change course. Step-by-step plan to start building real wealth. Step 1. Get real with yourself. Track every dollar for 1 month. No excuses, no exceptions. List all assets and liabilities. What do you own? What do you owe? Calculate your net worth, assets minus liabilities. Step 2. Detox your spending. Go 30 days without any flex purchases. Nothing for show, only what's necessary. Unfollow social accounts that trigger envy or reckless spending. Limit exposure to advertising and status-driven media. Step 3. Build your safety net. Start or rebuild your emergency fund. Aim for at least 3 months of expenses. Pay down high-interest debt, starting with credit cards and personal loans. Step 4. Shift to an asset mindset. Set up automatic contributions to savings or investment accounts, even small amounts. Learn about real assets, stocks, real estate, side businesses, skills that increase your income. Celebrate every asset you buy, no matter how humble. Step 5. Invest in yourself. Read 1 book on personal finance or investing each month. Take a free course or listen to podcasts by people who build quietly, not loudly. Surround yourself, even virtually, with those who live by substance, not show. Step 6. Practice daily money awareness. Ask before every purchase, will this help my future or just my image? Make quiet money moves your new game. Share your journey with someone you trust. Accountability helps. Step 7. Replace the rush. Find new sources of excitement. Tracking your net worth, watching your investments grow, seeing your freedom expand. Celebrate progress, not purchases. From fake rich to future rich. Change won't happen overnight. You'll face temptations, social pressure, and even setbacks. But every time you choose assets over aesthetics, ownership over optics, you build the muscle of real wealth. The world doesn't need another person pretending. It needs more people building quietly, living freely, and inspiring others to do the same. Start today. In a year, you'll be amazed how far you've come. In 10 years, you'll have built a life you never need to fake again. Building real wealth in a world obsessed with appearances. Even when you've chosen the path of building real wealth, the pressure to show off never truly disappears. There will always be new trends, social media highlights, and people flashing their latest purchases. But the difference is this: you now understand the cost of the game, and you're playing a different one. How to stay grounded when the world flexes. Remember your why. Revisit the reasons you chose substance over show. Freedom, not performance. Security, not stress. Legacy, not fleeting applause. Keep your personal vision front and center. Write it down, read it often, and use it as a compass for every big decision. Find your tribe. Surround yourself with others who value growth, discipline, and quiet confidence. Seek out communities, online groups, or mentors who play the long game. Distance yourself from toxic flex circles, even if that means saying no to certain friends or unfollowing certain accounts. You are the average of the people you spend the most time with. Choose your environment wisely. Make wealth building a ritual. Treat growing your net worth as a regular, rewarding habit. Set monthly reviews of your finances, investments, and progress. Set yearly goals for savings, skills, and asset growth. Celebrate every milestone, no matter how small. Wealth building is not a one-time event, it's a lifelong practice. Stay humble and private. Resist the urge to broadcast every win or acquisition. Value your privacy as an asset. Let your confidence come from what you know about your future, not what others think about your present. Those who endure do so in silence, letting results speak for themselves. Turn down the noise. Limit exposure to advertising, status-driven media, and comparison traps. Fill your feed and your mind with inspiration, learning, and stories of quiet, lasting success. The less you consume, the less you feel compelled to compete. Become an example. Inspire, don't impress. Lead by example for your family, friends, and community. Share what you've learned about the difference between true wealth and empty appearances, especially with the next generation. Show others that it's possible to live well, invest wisely, and be generous, all without the need for approval or applause. The world needs more role models for quiet, sustainable wealth than it does for stars for a day. Your wealth is not a performance. Remember, you never have to apologize for choosing the quiet road, for living beneath your means, or for investing in what truly matters. Your bank account, your freedom, your peace of mind, these are yours. You owe no one a performance. The ripple effect. When you hold your ground, you become a lighthouse for others searching for a better way. You give silent permission for people around you to step off the treadmill, to stop pretending, and to start building for real. Let your life be proof that substance wins. Let your quiet growth inspire others to dream bigger, live freer, and redefine what success truly means. Because in a world obsessed with looking rich, those who quietly build real wealth will always be the ones who last. Conclusion: the power of endurance over optics. At the end of this journey, the truth stands clear. Looking rich is a sprint. Staying rich is a marathon. Anyone can join the race for appearances, a race driven by trends, fueled by envy, judged by applause. But the winners in this race rarely cross the finish line. Instead, they circle endlessly, forever chasing a moving target. Endurance, the discipline to build quietly, invest patiently, and stay committed to your values, outlasts every trend and every spotlight. It is endurance, not excitement, that creates legacies. It is substance, not show, that builds freedom. What you leave behind. The designer labels will fade, the cars will rust, the latest gadgets will be forgotten. But the wealth you build, the security, the options, the habits, the mindset you pass down to your children, your community, and even to yourself in your later years, that is the real inheritance. Not a life of constant upgrades, but a foundation that allows those you love to build even higher. Your quiet power. You don't need to prove yourself to the world. You don't need to perform for approval. Let your actions speak in silence. The investments you make when no one is watching. The freedom you protect with every choice. The example you set by living beneath your means, not above them. In the end, the only scoreboard that matters is the one you keep in your heart and in your balance sheet. You decide what legacy you build. You have a choice: to keep running the endless race of appearances, always exhausted, always behind, or to step off the stage, slow down, and begin building quietly, day by day, brick by brick, the life and legacy you truly want. Remember, rich is quiet, broke is loud. You decide which legacy to build. Make yours one that endures. Choose the marathon over the sprint, the foundation over the facade, the wealth that stays after the applause fades. Because when the spotlight finally goes out, only substance remains, and it's the only kind of wealth that can never be taken away. This is your moment. Choose endurance. Build quietly. Let the world wonder how you did it, while you simply live, free.